Welcome back to ZBCN. Today, where we break down the stories in crypto that most people scroll past without realizing the earthquake happening under their feet. And today's update isn't just another big announcement. It's one of those moments where the entire crypto market will look back months later and say, wait, that was the turning point. Because what Zebec has unlocked through NatPay and PGP isn't just a new feature, a new integration, or a new connection. It is a direct pipeline into the core bloodstream of American payroll, banking, real-time settlement, and enterprise-grade financial flow. And most of the people talking about it online genuinely have no clue how massive this actually is. Everything shared in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Let's start with the part everyone seems to misunderstand, because when people hear NatPay integrated with Zebec, they imagine some medium-sized payments company dipping its toes into crypto. But NatPay is not a small company, not a startup, and not a disruptor trying to break into the market. This is a 30-year-old U.S. payroll titan that handles more than $153 billion in annual wage payments for over 278,000 American companies. Touching everything from direct deposit processing to automated clearinghouse transfers, corporate treasury settlements, government disbursements, and high-volume enterprise payment rails that keep the country's financial wheels moving daily, which means Zebec didn't just get a partnership, they connected to an artery of the U.S. economy. And here's the part that takes this from big news to monumental development. According to Zebec's official announcement, NatPay is the only U.S.-based payroll processor currently operating inside FedNow, while also being fully certified under NACHA and completely compliant with ISO 2022, giving Zebec access not only to the full ACH network across the United States, but also to the Swift messaging infrastructure globally, and that position is something almost no crypto project has ever achieved. This isn't future potential, it's already functioning. Now, if you're holding ZBCN or watching this ecosystem closely, this is where the story gets even more interesting, because according to the onchain analyst Dubs onchain, Zebec's integration isn't a deal in the traditional sense. It's a direct connection into the machinery that moves America's payroll, meaning Zebec solutions can now receive real-time inflows directly from U.S. bank accounts into Zebec rails through instant funding, instant streaming, and instant settlement, creating a genuine use case that activates real corporate adoption, enterprise automation, and deeper access into the Fed-managed payment ecosystem. And here's the bombshell that most people still haven't absorbed. According to ZBCN Man and other analysts, this system is not in pilot mode. It's not a beta, it's not a testnet. It's live right now, which means one of the largest payroll processors in the country has already switched on continuous, second-by-second wage streaming for millions of workers, with the ability to stream earnings in either fiat or USDC directly into wallets in real time. This entire transformation is running on Solana through Zebec's streaming infrastructure, and NatPay brings exactly what major enterprises require: scale, reliability, operational maturity, compliance history, and decades of trust. Because NatPay wasn't some back-office solution. They were the innovators who launched the world's first electronic pay stub almost 25 years ago, and now they're doing the exact same thing again by pioneering real-time payroll on-chain. This is a shift traditional payment systems simply cannot compete with, and it leaves giants like ADP, Paychex, and UKG looking painfully outdated, because while they still process wages in rigid cycles, Zebec is now enabling continuous, borderless, feeless payment streams that activate the second an employee begins working. Now let's zoom out for a moment, because there's a broader market trend happening that perfectly aligns with Zebec's timing. According to analysis from multiple crypto research outlets, real-world assets, yes, RWAs, had a tough beginning to 2025. Prices were dropping, sentiment was flat, and most investors ignored the sector entirely. But adoption behind the scenes kept growing, and recently search trends, on-chain data, and institutional flows all show a revival happening beneath the surface. It makes sense because RWAs aren't hype-driven the way meme coins are. They're tied to real yield through tokenized treasury bills, bonds, invoices, real estate, commodities, and payroll-based cash flows. And once macro conditions stabilize and the Federal Reserve shifts toward easing, capital rotates into narratives grounded in fundamentals, which is exactly where Zebec sits. Real cash flow, real compliance, real enterprise-level use cases, and real institutional alignment. The RWA narrative didn't die. It was waiting for better economics. And now the moment is arriving. Let's talk price for a moment because the charts matter too. And according to a trader known as Moon God, the ZBCN structure remains intact as long as the daily candle doesn't close below the key demand zone, which forms the base of the current 5-wave structure. If that support breaks, it could send the token into 000 levels, but Moon God believes this scenario is unlikely given the strengthening macro cycle, bullish momentum, and growing liquidity entering utility-based tokens. His prediction? ZBCN reaches $1 faster than people expect, and today's integration only strengthens that projection. Real utility creates real volume, and real volume fuels real price growth. Now let's get into the topic everyone is whispering about, but no one is saying out loud, Coinbase. And according to deep wallet tracking shared by ZBCN, Coinbase's activity around ZBCN looks a lot like what they do before listings. Here's the breakdown according to track data. Coinbase Hot Wallet 1 allegedly received 572 million ZBCN from Crypto.com, worth around $2 million. Real-time routing patterns look like internal testing. Coinbase Hot Wallet 4 reportedly purchased 135 million ZBCN. Across 27 identified Coinbase wallets, the total sits at roughly 2.4 billion tokens, and overall Coinbase exposure going back to 2021 appears to exceed 5 billion ZBCN. And don't forget, Coinbase Ventures invested $35 million into Zebec early on. So when you combine exchange accumulation plus hot wallet testing, plus ecosystem investment, plus an RWA resurgence, plus major enterprise integrations, you start seeing the shape of something much bigger forming. Here's the truth. Zebec didn't level up today. They changed their category entirely. They stepped out of the crypto project lane and entered the U.S. financial infrastructure lane. And while retail investors might not grasp how big this is, the enterprises, the banks, the payroll networks, and the institutional players absolutely understand what happened here. This is the moment where Zebec becomes more than a protocol. It becomes plumbing, invisible, essential, and irreplaceable. What went live includes fully compliant enterprise-grade stablecoin payroll, integration with Circle Rails, real-time USDC and fiat wage streaming, tokenized cash flow from the largest RWA segment on Earth, payroll, borderless, instantaneous wage disbursements, all running on Solana's high-speed architecture. So to wrap this up, here's the big picture. Zebec didn't just announce a partnership, they plugged themselves directly into the core financial machinery of the United States, gaining access to FedNow, ACH, SWIFT, and enterprise payroll infrastructure through NatPay, a company moving over $153 billion per year. The system is live, the compliance is in place, the utility is active, the RWA narrative is returning, the institutional interest is visible, and the potential Coinbase moves only reinforce the momentum building under the surface. And that wraps up today's breakdown here at ZBCN Today. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and keeps us bringing you more daily updates on Zebec and the entire Web3 ecosystem. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take.